She said intimacy with me was out of charity. That line burned into my head like acid. It wasn't whispered in anger or said during a fight. She said it calmly, almost proudly, as if she wanted me to know how little I meant to her. I'm David, 36, and I thought I had a good marriage. 8 years with my wife Nora. We met in college, and back then she was everything: confident, funny, ambitious. We built a life together from scratch, bought a small house, and I thought we were that cliché of love through hard times. But it turns out, hard times don't reveal everyone's loyalty. Sometimes they reveal how replaceable you are in someone else's heart. For the first 5 years, everything was fine. We laughed, traveled, and dreamt together. But after she got a promotion at work management level, something changed. She became cold, distant, like she was living in a different world I wasn't invited into. First, I blamed myself. I thought maybe I wasn't supportive enough, or maybe I'd let myself go. I started working out again, helping more around the house, even planning little date nights. But every time I reached out, she'd pull further away. Then one night I tried to kiss her while we were watching a movie, and she flinched like I'd done something wrong. I froze and asked quietly, "What's wrong?" She sighed and said, "David, not tonight. I'm not in the mood for this kind of thing lately." I nodded. I didn't want to push. But lately turned into weeks. Then months. The woman who used to hold my hand in public now couldn't even meet my eyes at breakfast. One night I brought it up carefully. "Is everything okay with us? You've been distant." She looked annoyed, like I'd interrupted her thoughts. "David, you always need reassurance. Not everything's about you. I'm just tired, okay?" I let it go again, because I loved her. But here's the thing. Love doesn't survive on silence. It rots. Slowly. Her phone started buzzing more often. Late-night messages, laughter during texts, that little smirk when she'd turn her screen away. I didn't want to believe she'd cheat. Nora wasn't that kind of person. Or so I thought. One night, I walked into the kitchen around midnight to grab water. Her phone was on the counter, screen glowing. A message popped up. "You're the only one who understands me." And his name, Ethan. My stomach dropped. I didn't touch the phone. I just stood there staring as my mind screamed every possible explanation. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but deep down I knew. That night I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, listening to her soft breathing beside me, wondering how long I'd been living a lie. The next day I acted normal. I started paying attention: who she texted, how often she smiled at her screen, how she suddenly started wearing perfume to work. 2 weeks later, the truth came out in the ugliest way possible. It was Saturday night. I'd cooked dinner, steak, her favorite, trying one last time to bridge whatever distance had grown between us. But she barely touched her food. She looked irritated, scrolling on her phone. Finally I asked, "Nora, can you put your phone down for 5 minutes and talk to me?" She rolled her eyes. "God, you're so needy lately." "Needy? I'm your husband, Nora. I just want to feel like we're still us." That's when she laughed, cold and sharp. "Us? David, wake up. You think this is some fairy tale? I'm not 20 anymore. And you're not exactly the man I married. You want the truth." I just stared at her, my chest tightening. "Yeah, tell me the truth." She set her fork down and said it, without hesitation. "Being intimate with you feels like charity, like I'm doing you a favor. I've lost attraction, David. Completely." For a moment I couldn't even breathe. My ears rang. My throat tightened. "Charity." I stood up slowly, trying not to let my voice break. "Then why are you still here?" She looked at me, almost pitying. "Because it's convenient. You handle everything. Bills, repairs, groceries. I don't have to lift a finger." That was it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Not in anger, but clarity. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just said, "Okay." The next morning I packed a small bag and left. But not before setting something in motion. You see, I'd already spoken to a lawyer the week before. After seeing that text from Ethan, I quietly began preparing, transferring half the joint funds into my own account, documenting her expenses, even tracking her work trips. Turns out those overnights weren't for work, they were for him. And when the divorce papers hit her inbox a week later, she lost it. She called me screaming, "You can't do this to me. I'll have nothing." I said calmly. You said intimacy with me was charity. I'm just freeing you from the obligation. There was silence on the line. Then she whispered, you knew. Yes, I said. And I wanted to see how far you'd go. Turns out, far enough to send love notes from her office email, which my lawyer used as evidence. She didn't get the settlement she expected. Not even close. A month later, Ethan dumped her. Apparently, he wasn't looking for a relationship. She tried calling me again, apologizing, crying, saying she made a mistake. But I didn't feel anger anymore. Just emptiness. When someone humiliates you like that, strips your worth down to charity, there's no love left to save. Now, months later, I'm living on my own. It's quiet, sure, but peaceful. I wake up without walking on eggshells. I cook for one, sleep through the night, and I don't have to wonder who she's texting. Sometimes I think about her words, out of charity. And I almost laugh. Because charity comes from kindness, and what she gave was pity. I don't need pity. I needed love. And now I finally have enough self-respect to never settle for less. When people ask what happened, I just say, she called it charity, so I made a donation. I gave her her freedom. And that, honestly, felt better than any revenge could.